Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 404. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Nothing much. Nothing much. I really regret now not doing this, but we could have posted a episode 404 and just had it been a blank episode, like not found. You know what I mean? And then just skipped over and did episode. Why did we not do that, Chris?
Oh, man, I missed that joke.
Fuck. Next time. Next podcast.
Yeah, next 404.
Next 404 podcast. But we do have an interview, too. We have Timothy B. Fling is on the show again, returning, talk about some good stuff. We always have some great conversations with him.
Yeah. I go on a rant. It's great.
Yeah.
Mike just stops talking for like 20 minutes.
Hey, I got to talk about UFOs and ghosts. I mean, we talked quite a bit before we even recorded. So, Chris got his side. I got my side. I think we're both pretty happy about it.
I always feel with these. So some interviews are for me, some are for you, some are for both of us.
That's all right.
And I also feel like there's times where you start talking about things and I just shut up too. So I felt a little bad after a little while, but at the same time I was like,
listen, man, it's all good. I'm here. I'm along for the ride. I'm glad you got to put on your curmudgeon hat. I'm glad
I had to get something off my chest, man.
I'm glad I got to put on my tinfoil hat for this episode. So we're good. We're all good. Yeah. Good to see Tim back and doing cool stuff. Yep.
I got a little show and tell because I have been financially irresponsible this past couple of weeks.
Hell yeah, that's my favorite thing to be.
So first, Mike. So for my Substack, one of the books I am going to be covering this year, is Marvel Comics did a Kool-Aid Man comic series that then eventually went to Archie. So I have Kool-Aid Man number 2 right here.
Oh my god!
And Kool-Aid Man number 3 right here.
Where's number 1, dude? Is it go for
I've had number 1. Oh. Yeah, it's upstairs.
You have had number 1. Hold on. What?
And then here's the special sweepstakes edition of Kool-Aid Man from Archie Comics.
So our mutual friend Patrick, there's like a running joke where he like barges into a place and goes, "Oh yeah." So I know he listens to every episode, so I hope he knows that there is a Kool-Aid Man comic, and he needs to go find it.
They're not expensive too, just so you know.
What are they like? I think they probably pay you to take them
couple
off.
dollars. Yeah, they're not expensive.
Amazing.
And then McFarlane's doing this new series of figures, and they're classic cover.
Oh, come on.
Figures.
Come on.
So they're not. There's no articulation or anything. They're basically little statues, but they're like super cheap, $30. And they're all classic covers. And they just did the Marvel set, and they're doing the DC set soon. Dark Knight Returns is 100% in that set, and I 100% have it pre-ordered. So I bought Captain America from Captain America 100.
Oh my god, that's amazing,
dude! It's so nice.
Yeah,
and it comes with a little like backdrop too. You can put it in. So on my bookshelf are the backdrops for it.
That, yeah.
And then and they did Hulk. They did a bunch of them. And then I got here Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Oh, that's sick.
And I love the base has like the logo as well from the comic.
The city and stuff. Wow.
And like the Hulk one, I'm not a Hulk guy, so of course I didn't buy the Hulk one. But the Hulk one is, I forget the issue, but it's him tearing the Hulk logo apart.
Nice.
Yeah, like they're really nice figures. They're, I think, $25 to $30 depending on where you find them.
I did see one of the McFarlane cowls, mini cowls. I say mini, but it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was out in the store. But it was one of the ones we didn't want. I think it was like 89 Batman. I either want the 60s Batman or animated series Batman.
I'm still looking for the animated series, but this month is going to be financially irresponsible, Chris, because the new Batman Beyond figures come out. The new Batman Beyond Batmobile comes out. It's going to be a rough month.
Yep. It's rough. It's rough out these parts.
I'm going to be a happy man.
Yeah, that's amazing. I guess we'll just jump right into it. We got a jam-packed show today, folks.
Yeah. That was the other thing I wanted to say before we jump into it, because it's kind of like not related, but I did finish Sopranos.
Yeah, that was quick, right? Weren't you just started it?
It was.
Wow.
The ending is bullshit.
I heard the ending's bad.
It's really bad. I've heard, so I've known the ending for a long time. We've all known the ending for a long time.
I don't know the ending.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. Do you care if I spoil it?
I don't really give a shit. It's been so many. I probably have heard it, and I just like made space for other stuff in my head.
And I've heard the explanation for the ending, and I'm like, you didn't have it was years later when the creator explained the ending, and I'm like, you didn't have an ending. You didn't have one at the time. Now you're trying to make up for the fact you didn't have one.
Yeah.
It literally is it's Tony and his family, and they sit down in a diner, and it just cuts to black for like 3 seconds. That's it.
That's the ending?
That's the ending. And like I've known that, I've heard that. I know this isn't new to people, but like it's such bullshit. Like you didn't have an ending, and so you just cut to black. Like it's I fucking hated it. But the show is so good, that I don't care.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. It's all about the journey. It's all about the and they do such a great job in the last season of reminding you that you've been rooting for a piece of shit this whole time.
Yeah, but he's a family man, right? Come on.
Yeah. And then I finished, I forgot to talk about it last week, but I finished What If Season 3.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. That first episode was amazing, and then just kind of went
downhill from there.
Yeah. But the last episode, Mike, they go full DBZ. And I mean full DBZ. There's a huge fight sequence with the Watcher and the Multiverse Avengers, whatever they called them.
Yeah.
And the other Watchers that are trying to stop Iwata. And it's literally a scene out of Dragon Ball Z, dude.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, they all get Watcher powers, and then they're battling at like full speed, and they're shooting fucking lasers at each other.
What the hell?
I don't know if you watched What If.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'll be really interested to see if you get to the end of this season. Even if you don't like this season, you're like, fuck it. Just skip to the last episode and watch it, because you're gonna be like, fuck yeah.
Are all the episodes like continuations, or could I just watch it out of?
You could pretty much watch it out. I mean, the last two connect somewhat, but yeah, they're all single what if stories.
Okay.
And yeah, and each season like it ends with a conclusion where they all have to get together and then fight something. Blah blah.
Okay.
And this one kind of accumulates everything that's happened, and like the other Watchers being mad at Iwata for interfering when he's just supposed to watch and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, hey, let's fucking go DBZ and go Super Saiyan over here.
Yeah, that's I will come out for DBZ shit all day.
That's all I could, like, because I was not having a good time watching that show for a little bit, because there's one where it's literally like a musical, like a Bollywood musical, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't want to watch this. And some of the other ones are just like, they brought in Ironheart, and I'm like, Ironheart isn't even a major character in the MCU. Like, why?
Yeah.
And it felt like they were trying to shoehorn characters that they want to do in the future for movies, but haven't established yet. I mean, I know Ironheart was in Black Panther 2. I get it. But like, she was not a major part of that movie, and we still don't know her as Ironheart. We know her as her. Stuff like that was going on. I'm just like, you really, like, when you lost the big characters, you lost the plot.
Yeah.
Is what happened.
Yeah.
But that last episode, great fight sequence.
Awesome. A little bit of TV news. Disney announced for Ahsoka Season 2, they're replacing Ray Stevenson's role as Baylan Skoll. Now, we all know that Ray Stevenson was amazing in that role, but I do think the person they picked is a pretty good replacement. So they're replacing him with Rory McCann from Game of Thrones, and if anybody watches Game of Thrones, this is the Hound, the really big dude with the beard. So this is like a perfect offset. He's like the same height, body size. I think he'll do a good job. He's going to look a little different probably, but I mean, they're doing the best they can with the situation, I think. So
yeah, I mean, Ray Stevenson was the breakout character of Ahsoka. Like, he was amazing in that role. So it's really tough. And the fact that he didn't even get to see like everybody loving his characterization is very sad. But yeah, I knew they had to do something. He was too major a character. He was kind of introduced in season 1, but you could tell he was going to be a major player in that story.
Yeah.
So they had to do something. I'm not familiar with this guy because it's way later in Game of Thrones, and I didn't watch that crap.
This is the memes. This is the two chickens guy from Game of Thrones, who knows the fucking chickens conversation, but he's just a beast in that show. And he's been in a lot of other stuff. He was actually, what did I see him in randomly? It was weird because he was without a beard, and he was playing like a soccer fan in some movie like Euro Trip or something. But he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I looked him up. He's 6'6".
Yeah, he's a big friggin' dude.
Giant.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting approach. Yeah.
He was in Hot Fudge.
Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz. That's
not Hot Fudge.
Hot Fudge. I want some Hot Fudge though.
He's in Gladiator.
Yep.
2, that is.
He was in the second one. Yep. I did realize. Yep. I did notice him in that. He plays one of the like guards.
He's in a lot of like mythological history stuff, like he was in Solomon Kane, he was in Clash of Titans, he was in
he's
Season
basically
of the Witch.
a big dude that wears armor is usually who he plays. So I guess a big Jedi that wears armor isn't too far off.
He was in Knuckles?
Really? Voicing somebody?
Who was he in Knuckles?
He's a voice actor too.
I watched the show. No, well, Knuckles is also live action. So.
Oh, it is? Oh.
Yeah. There's a character called the Buyer.
It's so funny because you'll see him without a beard and he like is completely unrecognizable with and without a beard. Because I'm pretty sure in Hot Fuzz he doesn't have a beard. And that's why I almost didn't recognize him.
Oh, he was the bad guy in Knuckles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was the former Dr. Robotnik underling who like went out on his own.
That's amazing. So there you go.
He was really good in that. Yeah. Okay. I'm sold now. Yeah. 100%.
There you go. It's all some random show on Paramount Plus.
That only I watched.
That only Chris watched. Game of Thrones? No.
It had Idris Elba voicing Knuckles. Of course I watched
Chris is going to be going around being like, you mean the guy from Knuckles? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's going to be my thing, yes.
Yeah.
Whenever someone talks about him now, they're going to be like, yeah, from Game of Thrones. You mean the guy from Knuckles?
Yeah, no, the guy from Knuckles, you idiots. That's amazing. Okay, if you listen to last episode where Chris and I talked about Creature Commandos, episode 6, now we're on episode 7, we said, this one character that they're holding back with, she either has to do something or have to have a big, reveal that she has some crazy powers. No, she's just a really sad case and ends up getting killed this episode, which sucks.
But she did have a moment.
I
will, yeah. It wasn't the moment I thought it was going to be, but she did have a moment and a purpose.
Yeah, I think this was a great episode. It was kind of crazy when when the bride shoots the princess in the head. That was kind of fucking crazy. The whole Weasel not wanting her to die thing was kind of sad. And then her whole backstory about how she was mutated to try to survive, and then was I think this comes down to the difference between, and this almost felt like a season finale, Chris, right?
It was a season finale.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the new team they announced, but that her whole backstory is a tragedy, and so was her current story. And she's a monster in the sense of how the public viewed her. She never did anything bad,
No, she actually went out of her way to not live with humans because she knew she wasn't meant to be living with humans.
Yeah.
And that's sad in its own right because she did nothing wrong. But
to be part of the Creature Commandos, they were pretty much just we're just grabbing people that are abnormal. They haven't even had to commit crimes, essentially. Yeah. I thought it was a great episode. And then I'll just say her. Yeah. So
she dies, and her death is what leads the bride to kind of go over the edge.
Yeah.
And make that final act, which was very calculated in how it's done, but also emotional because her whole thing was that I would have just let this go, but you killed the one person who had any shred of good in them here.
Yeah.
And that was her purpose the whole time, was to be that one person. So it was interesting how that all came about. I really loved that twist at the end.
Yeah, we saw the growth of the bride character, which is really who's going to be leading the new Creature Commandos, right?
Yeah, and I also want to say, before we get into the new ones, there's 2 characters that are presumed dead in this episode. Now, we know Clayface died in a previous episode.
Yep.
In this one, they kill Frankenstein. I personally believe that neither of these characters are actually dead.
No. Yeah, I don't think so either.
So I'll be interested to see when and how they bring back Frankenstein in particular, but there's no way they're leaving Clayface on the cutting room floor.
I do love the whole interaction of like the bride doesn't even want to hear Frankenstein out; she just shoots.
Fucking stalker.
Yeah, like just puts him down. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. That's the interaction I needed. To shut this guy up. Yeah,
you don't bring on David Harbour, who's going to be huge here in about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
and is already big in his own right, but is going to be huge. And then just kill off his character and never let him do a live action thing. Come on, he's coming back, and he's Frankenstein.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, he's reanimated already. The new team. I'm trying to remember who all they picked. We have King Shark, which is all I really saw, and it's not voiced by Sylvester Stallone. I looked it up. They have some other guy doing his similar voice. Diedrich Bader, I believe, is doing his voice, who is a classic voice actor, as Chris looks it up, but I have to look it up as well. It's the guy from that show you like, Cleveland Rocks.
Oh, Drew Carey Show.
Drew Carey Show, yeah. Yep, Diedrich Bader. And Diedrich Bader's done a lot of has he done Batman? Yeah, he did the voice of Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon. That's how I know him.
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was trying to remember get his face because he's Batman.
Yep, from Brave and the Bold,
the second best Batman.
Yeah.
He's also the two chicks at one time guy.
Yep.
If anyone remembers that.
He so I thought he nailed the voice. To see King Shark part of the thing was awesome.
He was Harvey Dent in Cape Crusaders.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was also in Masters of the Universe. He's done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, he does a lot of voice acting. So, King Shark's part of the new team. That's all that matters.
Yeah, G.I. Robot's back.
G.I. Robot's back with like huge
body.
Yeah.
I know there's others in the background, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, they'll probably kill those off.
They're all pretty like Z-list characters, so it's hard to really tell.
But King Shark and G.I. Robot are the two main ones for sure.
Yeah.
G.I. Robot with a giant body for killing Nazis.
That's gonna be phenomenal next season. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good season.
No, I thought overall it was good.
Yeah, it was a great intro for everything, and I look forward to getting more. My hype train is full on board for Superman at this point, so that's all I really care about.
Yeah, give us that trailer on friggin' Super Bowl, please, James Gunn, please.
It's gonna happen. Although it's not in the news, but Mike, I gotta get this off my chest. We talked about Batman being delayed last week.
Yeah,
and they just announced that they're delaying Shrek 5, which is just. So I gotta stay healthy and live one extra year to get another Shrek movie. Come on,
man.
There should be a Shrek movie every year.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, it's
the greatest cinematic universe in cinematic history. Come on,
it's a shame we haven't had them every year. Hopefully, this new movie like reignites like a new trilogy or something.
I hope so, because they've been doing a good job. Like those Puss in Boots movies are good.
Oh, those movies are so good.
Yeah,
yeah.
They just haven't gotten like acclaim that Shrek did.
Yeah, and the animation was so good.
Yeah. I gotta do Shrek rewatch now.
I know. I'm right after this. I'm gonna screw football. We're gonna put Shrek on. Everybody wins when you watch Shrek. Comic news: DC Comics announced a new Black Label series that I'm pretty pumped about. It's titled Resurrection Man: Quantum Karma, from writer Ram V, artist Anand RK. It's a 6-issue prestige format that reintroduces readers to Mitch Shelley, the Resurrection Man. Originally created by Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning, and Jackson Butch Gucci, Shelley is a man who has led thousands of lives, and with each death he has resurrected a new superpower based on his previous cause of death. After living and dying his latest life, Shelley awakes with new purpose to go along with his latest power, saving the universe. This version of Resurrection Man must battle across time and space against a sadistic World War II internment camp captain who has inherited a twisted version of Shelley's abilities. As the lines of cosmic order begin to blur, Mitch Shelley will literally die to save the universe more than once. I have no history or ties or like any I've never known anything about the Resurrection Man. The art is amazing. I'm a huge Ram V fan, and now he's going to be fighting Nazis, so I think Chris might be reading it too.
No.
Okay. Never mind.
I know we joked at the beginning about, financially irresponsible Chris at the beginning, but the name of the game for 2025 is financial responsibility for Chris.
True.
and I need to cut down my pull list. So it sounds like a really cool book. It really does. I as well have no connection to the Resurrection Man, but that's probably what's going to keep me out of it. Is that I'm not the big Ram V fan you are. Mm-hmm. I like him just fine, but I'm not like. I know he's like one of your top guys.
Yeah, love him.
And having a character that I don't really know that well or care about holds me back a little bit. So I will probably skip this one. And it might be one of those things where if at the end I hear everybody, you in particular, saying like it's the best book of the year and all that,
you'll pick it up.
Trade weight it maybe. But yeah, the week to week, I've literally been going through and trying to figure out where I can like tear away from my pull list right now because it's
I've just been like silently dropping some books that I just don't care about.
Yeah, and that's what I have to start doing.
I'm like weeks behind on reading Saga. I don't think I've read the newest issue.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, good. Good, then I don't have to read it. Mad Cave Studios has a couple announcements. The new series titled Sunder from writer-artist Pierre-Alexandre Comtois. When a mysterious book appears in the library of a young monk named Zeke, he must embark on a quest to find his rightful owner. Unbeknownst to him, another dark figure has been searching for this book for a very long time, sending his minions across known planets and using dark magic to find it at all costs. When the evil figure realizes the manuscript has been finally resurfaced, it sets events in motion that will send Zeke on an adventure, unlike anything he could ever imagine, leading Zeke to discover his true identity and destiny. Interesting. Kind of looks like an all-ages book. This, like, goat man thing, goat boy.
Yeah, it has an all-ages fantasy feel to it. It looks interesting, I think. Yeah, I believe.
Looks pretty cool.
I mean, this is one, to be fair and honest, like we'll get a review copy of, so I'll probably at least check it out.
Probably check it out, right?
It's interesting to note that that Pierre he's an animation guy. Like, he's worked in... I was looking through his stuff, and he's worked on movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh, yeah.
And Sausage Party. Nice.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was a funny movie. So I think it sounds interesting enough. If we were down to brass tacks and it was my money on the line, I probably wouldn't check it out. But I'll be interested to see with the review copy.
I like the fantasy style. Check it out.
I generally like the all ages stuff. It has to be done well. That's the problem. Is a lot of all ages stuff doesn't do it well, but I like when it's kind of cute and fun. So we'll see what it brings.
We will see. The other
next one is a Mike ass book.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. I love the name is so metal too. New series titled Dark Pyramid from Mad Cave Studios from writer Paul Tobin, artist PJ Holden. Huki Hidalgo. What a fucking name. That is an alliteration name I have not heard in the years of reading comics. Adventurist and popular live streamer has gone missing while climbing Mount Denali in Alaska. When his girlfriend Becca arrives at the base of the mountain to retrace his steps, she soon discovers something beyond the dreamy and impressive landscape. There's a conspiracy deep within the heart of Denali itself, a dark pyramid silent waiting. Becca and the scores of Huki fans determined to either find him or find some fun will face death, avalanches, and monsters to find the truth. Yeah, so it looks pretty spooky. Very like sci-fi spooky-ish because we have like planets and stars and some weird like monolithic shit going on. So it looks pretty dope. I love the way they write the Dark Pyramid logo is done with like 3 claw marks. It's pretty cool. Kind of looks like a monster can.
Yeah, I've heard from people I trust that it's very Lovecraftian horror. So
love it.
Yeah. It looks very interesting. I'll be intrigued to at least check it out. Mm-hmm. But I remember getting this email and seeing the press release and being like, "This is the Mike fucking book." Right
here, this reminds me of a lot of like something Grant Morrison did early on. I can't remember the name of the book, but
yeah, and just 2 Mad Cave Studios books, just going out and saying like, yeah, they announced some cool IP drops late last year, but here we are with some really cool independent or creator-owned books as well that
pretty awesome.
Look quality, and I just want to keep reiterating that word because quality is the name of the game when it comes to Mad Cave in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, like you said, there's so many books out now that it's like you guys gotta come out swinging, or we're not going to give you any.
Yeah, you gotta get me in. I mean, I got so many books to read, and I've gotten really heavy into like old comics too. I actually just got DC Finest put out the original Aquaman comics,
Oh,
like the
cool.
original for the 50s. So, Mike, I'm gonna be going balls deep in some Aquaman here soon.
Hell yeah, reading all that. Yeah, that's a soundbite everybody's gonna clip. Please say that.
Oh, there was a while ago when I said I was going balls deep into the Drew Carey show, and that got sent back to me by many people.
That's amazing. Well, now you got it going into Aquaman. There's no coming back from that.
I have no problem going balls deep into Aquaman.
You fucked a fish.
Believe you me.
What are you, gay fish? Straight out of South Park. Okay, let's talk about what we read.
I have a drinking problem.
Oh, watch out. This week, I read a whole 2 comics from my list, but because I got a Kickstarter book that's out of reach right now in the mail. Finally, I actually got a couple. This one I can't reach. Hold on, it's on my bookshelf.
Yeah, I got a couple this week too. I haven't dug it. One of them I didn't even realize I did the physical book of, but I talked about the digital one. I got the digital.
This thing is hefty. See how thick this bad boy is?
Moly.
This is called Dungeons Denizens. It's a hardcover. It's not that I play much D&D anymore, but when I want to, this is a 5th edition, and I think they're doing a part 2, but it's over 550 new monsters for your 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons games.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool Kickstarter. Sometimes I just like to go through, so it really, if you can see the display here, it's just a bunch of different monsters. My camera background's really fucking all this up. But it's like
when you were holding it before, you could see it better.
Yeah, there's a lot of pages, so I've been flipping through it, just reading about the monsters and like the lore.
I learned this week that there's a module for D&D that turns it into a sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
it's called like
I have it.
Starjammers and Arrows or something.
I have it on the shelf right here somewhere, Chris.
Yeah, a friend of mine's playing, and he's like, "Yeah," and we all of a sudden he's playing in a different group alongside my group. He goes, "Yeah, my other group, like, we have a spaceship now," and I'm like, "You have a what?"
It's called Spelljammer: Adventures in Space. I have the set right here.
Yeah, and it's official D&D thing.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. So there's Astral Planes, Astral Adventures. There's Lights of Jarvis and Astral Adventures Guide. There's actually, so getting a little deep into D&D, I've actually read quite a bit through this, because even if I don't play D&D, I can still enjoy the lore. Yeah. There is mechanics and like around building your spaceship and piloting spaceships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I have it all here. I have the knowledge, but I just haven't gotten into it. And this set actually comes with this crazy like screen, D&D screen that's all like space and shit. Yeah. This was right up my alley, dude. I had to get this. I got this a while ago.
Yeah, I don't play 5th edition, so I was like, I will. I'm not a snob about it. Like, we've played 5th edition together. I like 5th edition, but the one I currently play isn't 5th, so I don't get into 5th edition stuff. So when I learned that was a thing that exists, I was very confused.
Yeah, I just haven't had anybody play. And then so sometimes they release like planes from Magic the Gathering. So I have the Theros one, which is like the Greek gods. Which is
I remember those.
Set.
I wanted to buy them, but I never did.
Yeah, so I have a lot of cool stuff, but I don't really play anymore. But I like to flip through the books; they're nice. Illustrations are great.
If you want to drive 3 hours to play, I mean, I can get a group together.
Give me the group. The Kickstarter book I was reading, I haven't finished it. So I'm a big fan of the Cyanide and Happiness comics. For years now. They released a 20th anniversary graphic novel, and so it talks about like from the start to now. So they pick like comics throughout their history, and each of the guys makes a comment underneath of like they all must have reviewed them and commented after each other of like where they were in their career when they wrote the comic, like how they thought the comic would be received. Them commenting like, dude, this comic doesn't even have a fucking joke in it, but everybody loved it. Like when they made their first recurring character. It's a really cool book if you're into Cyanide Happiness. They did a great job with it. So I'm reading through that right now. I also, for the sake of wanting to read these 2 books this week, I read Absolute Batman #4, which was very heavy. I would say heavy in the lore issue. So
different artists too.
Yeah,
it took me back.
Yeah, we talked a lot about like Bruce and his dad's relationship, and then his relationship to Joe Chill. So we see him in the past saying some shit to Joe Chill. We see him in the past with his dad working on some engineering project for building a bridge, like a deployable bridge. So I'm guessing we'll see that at some point in the
100%.
So that's pretty cool. And then the issue kind of ends with him going up to Joe Chill in jail and said, "You wanted to say something to me." So that's kind of where we're at. I don't think it was a bad issue. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be such a heavy issue with less action, but I'm not upset about it. It did kind of slow things down, but we're in kind of a low point now from where the last issue was. So
it wasn't a bad issue, but when we got that big reveal at the end, and comics do this all the time, so I hate complaining about it. But big reveal at the end, and then and we're gonna take a twist and do a old story. I'm like, okay,
yeah, right.
And then the art took me away because I think the art is not up to the standard of a Big 2 comic.
No, it's
personally,
not, for sure. Yeah,
and I don't mean to shit on an artist, but I just don't think it was up there.
No.
And it was also such a departure from the regular artist that it's hard to be on par with Dragotta, but it was such a departure that it was rough. So, and I've been saying that as these issues come out, like my top 3 shifts all the time.
Yeah.
And I will say after this week, Wonder Woman for the first time has stuck as like my favorite. So
nice. We got him there.
Because these two just I assume the next one you're gonna talk about is Absolute Superman.
No.
No, okay.
I'm behind on that. Yeah, I haven't.
So after these 2 issues, I was like, "Oh, you did the thing that I don't want you to do, which is tell me origin shit."
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
No, I read the only other book I got to this week. I had to read Aquaman #1.
Fuck yeah, you did.
So let's talk about that amazing book. First off, the artwork, right?
John Timms was amazing in this issue.
That artwork is fucking amazing. Also, that initial page was made for Chris, pretty much. Yeah. Well, the kaiju. Sorry, I'm having a coughing fit here, but the initial page of like we're not telling the normal Aquaman story, right? With the origin
this
stuff.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that one right there. That was like, we've already done all that shit. We're gonna tell our own story. It kind of catches you up where Aquaman is. He looks kind of bored as king now that he's back. And then to wrap it all up and send him into the Omegaverse, it seems like, or Earth Omega. There's this pearl that he has that like, destroys all of Atlantis, makes it disappear, and then he gets the Justice League to help him out and enters the pearl into this gateway, and then he transports through it, but then the Omega symbol is there. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, he gets to the. So first, I like that the new powers he got. I thought they were going to be from the other Aquaman. They're actually from Mera, which made it interesting on how like Mera can help him out, and it can be kind of almost a romance book at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And I liked him learning them and her seeing like, oh shit, like you can use these powers way better than I ever could.
Yeah. Like,
and then getting all those moments and just setting everything up, having him there, how he takes out the giant water kaiju, all these things really built up this new version of Aquaman that I thoroughly enjoyed. And then, with the pearl, like he goes down the water and there's the Krakoan gate sitting there.
Yeah.
And he sends the pearl in and it's the Omega symbol. So, is Aquaman going to the Absolute Universe?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, is Absolute Aquaman just going to be our Aquaman?
I'm wondering.
Or is it Absolute Aquaman going to be two Aquaman?
I think, and we'll find out real soon, and it'll be a ballsy move if you ask me, but I think Aquaman is going to be the link to the DC Universe finding out that this Absolute Universe exists, and that's where Darkseid is. And to have Aquaman be that one, and the book Aquaman be the book that proves that, that's a move, man. Like, I love Aquaman, you love Aquaman. He's not a very popular character.
No, it's not.
So
maybe they're like, this is how we do it.
Yeah. I thought it was a great first issue.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah.
And doing the whole ties of like Aquaman to Superman, like it's a plane, it's a bird. No, it's like we don't have to worry about that. Like he saves a plane, but he comes from underwater. So
yeah,
absolutely loved it. I thought they nailed it, and I really giving us the tease of the Omega stuff is like, okay, you got my attention.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to this week.
So Absolute Superman #3 came out, and it is his origin.
Lovely.
It's him on Krypton. It's everything that happened before, except Jor-El isn't as respected, so he's like immediately thrown out. And I'm zoning on her name, but his wife is a complete badass in this because she breaks him out of prison at one point.
Oh, that's cool.
Like she shows up with a giant blaster and just starts. It reminded me of the Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny. Like, it started blasting.
Anyways, it started blasting.
She literally Kool-Aid Man through the fucking wall and just started shooting people.
Yep.
And and then they come back to get Clark, who's, as we've known in past issues, he's much older than he is in the regular Superman mythos at this point. And we find out that the upper class in Krypton had been building this ark that was going to take them off Krypton. So they had actually accepted that the thing was happening, that the planet was blowing up, but they didn't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, Jor-El and his wife were building this ark as well. It just wasn't as big, and they were going to take a bunch of people. So I feel like it's the origin, and I personally just don't care. It is important for the story because I feel like in the next couple issues, we're going to find out that there's more than just Superman on Earth.
That would be cool that we got more Kryptonians. I like that. Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the big difference here is not only because they do show Kansas at the end, but they show that it's not how it worked out in the regular Superman. So good issue. Just both that and Batman, as I said, they dove too deep into origin story stuff, and I just want to move forward with the regular story. And that's just the kind of consumer I am. That's not Anyways, Batman Dark Patterns #2 continues that story with the guy who has all the nails and shit all over his body. And it's hard to really talk too much about it because it's the type of Batman book you and I have always talked about. It is a detective book, and it's him being a detective. Even though he knows this guy, it's him trying to figure out who he is, what's going on, why he's doing what he's doing. And we get little details about him where Batman at one point has to gas him to knock him out, and he has this whole thing where he says it's not like a comic book, it's not like a movie. You can't just put chloroform over someone's face and they knock out and they wake back up. And he fucks it up, so he has to find a doctor to help this guy out because he's like, oh, I gave him too much of it and he could die and I can't kill. So it's a great Batman book. Really, it's a great detective Batman book.
Nice.
And I really just recommend it highly. Sticking with Batman though, I did read the Batman 156 that you talked about last week.
Yep.
Fucking KG Beast, man. Hell yeah.
The KG Beast reveal. I was I can't believe we didn't see that coming.
I was trying so hard throughout the issue.
He slipped up with Comrade, and I was like, I still didn't understand.
And that's the thing. I was trying throughout to figure out who Commander Star was. And he slipped the Comrade, and it did not click with me. Even though I've literally had a moment in my personal life where someone referred to me as Comrade, and I made the joke, no communists here.
Right.
And I still didn't.
Yep. What about, does that mean the Court of Owls are communists too? Or just the guy that runs them?
Maybe just the guy that runs them. But it's funny to see Russia involved in some way.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a great job. He did an amazing job of doing societal commentary in this issue, the way I think more people need to do it, which is smart.
Yep.
There's literally that moment where we find out the reason Riddler built all this is because he believes that by being rich, he will not go to jail this time. He'll get away with it. There's a lot of cool stuff throughout this book.
Yeah, just a little
saving that. I'm saving it.
Yeah.
Really quick, Avengers Assemble #4. This is a few weeks old. A big thing here is they finally have their battle with the Serpent Society, and the Serpent Society is able to inject Cap with a serum that changes his DNA. So now we have a Captain America that's basically the Lizard. And that's the next issue is going to be them trying to save Cap.
That's funny.
So that was fun. Ultraman X Avengers #3, also a few weeks old. I can't remember if you talked about it or not, but it was a really great issue.
I think so. Yeah.
Lots of kaiju fighting, lots of just good action. I like how they take out Galactus in the issue, so I'll be interested to move forward. And then we're not going to end with this one, but we are going to just say real quick, Saga #71. Better than the previous issues. It's still really missing something.
Okay.
The big reveal at the end didn't do much for me.
Marco's still not alive.
No. And I feel like this book has lost its way without Marco. Is really what's happening. The big reveal of who the cook was the whole time makes some sense, but at the same time, they didn't hint enough at it.
Yeah,
where I really felt like, oh, of course.
It was just used cheaply, probably.
Yeah. And then it was a very cheap surprise tactic at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to spoil it because you said you're kind of done with it.
Yeah. I'm like keeping a tally now, starting at 71, how many issues I need to read to catch up until Marco comes back.
So the guy was a private eye the whole time, and he was checking on her.
Yeah.
He was working for her father because her father wants her to come home because he's dying.
Okay.
That's the big reveal.
Which, who cares?
I don't remember her father much from the book.
I don't remember it either. Like, I don't even think he was part of it, really.
So I guess this is the final issue before they go on break again, which is another thing with this book. Stop going up. I get that you want to build up issues so Fiona could be the artist. I don't mind if you skip a few months, but this whole 6 issues a year thing is really killing the book for me.
Yeah.
So
it sucks.
Let's talk about a book that was really good, which is The Lucky Devils, #1.
Oh, yeah, I saw that came out.
This is the new Charles Soule Ryan Brown book. And just like all of the stuff they've done together, it's really good.
Nice.
It's these two people who are pretty good people. One's a nurse, one's a professor. And we just follow them through their day, them doing good deeds, and kind of just, like most of us, having a bad time of it. They seem to be in a slump, like things aren't really going their way. Dealing with people around them who maybe aren't as nice of people, getting good things in life, things like that. And it's revealed to them that basically everybody has a devil on their shoulder, but they don't know about it. But now these devils have revealed themselves to these two people, and they've made a deal with them. We will do these things for you to help you in life, and we'll stop fucking with you so much. But you have to do this to help me. And there's this whole explanation about how hell is basically a company. They're basically laborers, and the more you get promoted, the more influential people you get to fuck with. So basically the best demons are fucking with the president, essentially. And that whole thing is presented to them, and they both are, at first, are like, fuck off, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And after a while, say, I guess I should. Let's do this. And you think that's where it ends, but it doesn't. The two demons go back to hell, and we get hell in this book, too.
Oh, cool.
And these two demons are basically the rebel punk rockers of hell.
Oh, okay.
Like, they even have flaming mohawks and everything when they go back home.
That's awesome.
And we find out that their whole thing is they are those 80s, 90s punk rockers who want to take down the system, and this is how they're going to do it.
The system of hell. That's amazing.
So they're literally rebelling against the system of hell, and they're going to take it down.
That's amazing.
It's really great. It's imaginative. The art's phenomenal. I always recommend a Charles Soule Ryan Brown book.
That's awesome. 100%. Yeah, I love those guys. Ever since the God Hates Astronauts days.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of Curse Words and 8 Billion Genies a few years ago. It was really good. So
yeah, I got to read this book. It's on my list.
My last thing, real quick, because you talked about it, was I finally finished Destroy All Humans They Can't Be Regenerated.
Oh yeah,
Volume 1.
Yeah,
it's good. I wouldn't recommend it to people though, because I think my nostalgia for this time of Magic the Gathering really gets me through the book.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It is a love story at its core. At least I feel like it's building up to be a love story. And the problem I have with it is both characters are very unlikable. Yeah,
they're both jerks.
And they're both kids. And I get we're going to see them grow throughout the series as they fall in love.
Yeah.
but there's so many great moments throughout it where they're playing Magic, and I'm just sucked back into those days.
You recognize a card or something, and you're like,
it's almost the perfect time frame for where I started playing Magic the Gathering. So
that's awesome.
I will continue to read it for that alone. And it's so funny to see the little margins where they explain things like, this is what this is.
Yeah, this is how it was in the 90s.
I'm sitting there like fucking casual. I don't need this shit.
Yeah, right. And then the little excerpt from the creator saying like it's based on what they experienced at that time and their love for Magic and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm glad
cool little book. But if you're not a hardcore Magic fan or a classic Magic fan like myself, I don't think it's going to like be the breakout success that Yu-Gi-Oh was or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. No way. Yep.
But Mike, that was everything I read this week. So where can people find? Oh no, I had one more book. I'm sorry.
You had one more book?
Cruel Kingdom #1 from EC Comics came out.
Nice.
And I read it. It's really good. It's not what I thought it would be though. I thought it would be a fantasy horror book. And while it is, it's more based on medieval fantasy or horror.
Okay. Interesting.
And some of it skirts the line of sci-fi. Some of it flops right over that line and says, fuck it. We're going to do robot generals in a kingdom.
Okay.
But it's good. So
nice.
I just would set the expectation to be, it's not going to be Gandalf with horror. It's going to be the Sword in the Stone with horror.
Okay. Interesting.
So
yeah.
Now I'm like, that was everything I read this week. So where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on X/Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on X, Blue Sky, whatever social media network you want. Also at chriscomicscorner.substack.com. And you can find the show on X at Fortress Pod and also at fortresscomicnews.com. Right, thank you so much for watching. It's been amazing to do the show. But if you want to support it, 5-star reviews on podcatchers, on the YouTube version, like and comment down below, subscribe so you can make sure you get every episode. And there's also patreon.com/fortresscomics. So as I fucked up earlier, thank you so much for watching and or listening this week. And we'll see y'all here next week.